Chapter 5 Go 'long, Mule! The sky had grown cloudy, and a warm breeze was blowing. Dipper stopped the cart and listened. "Hear that?" he said. "Parade's coming this way." Jack heard band music in the distance. "Is that parade for All Saints' Day?" asked Annie. "Maybe, or maybe a million other things," said Dipper. "Folks in this city will find any excuse for a parade." Soon the parade came into view. Horseback riders wore plumed hats and black masks. Following them were people dressed up as clowns, kings, queens, fairies with fluttering wings, ghosts, and skeletons. "We read that New Orleans might be the most haunted city in the country," Annie said to Dipper, "especially on the eve of All Saints' Day. We heard there are real ghosts in a cathedral, a hotel, and a blacksmith shop." "Yeah, and plenty more places, too," said Dipper. "But I'm not afraid of ghosts. I'm not afraid of anything." "Me neither," said Annie. Me neither," said Jack. A band followed the people in costumes. The musicians were playing trumpets, tubas, trombones, and drums. Lots of drums. The joyous music filled the New Orleans air. Jack and Annie couldn't help nodding their heads in time to the beat. Jack noticed that Dipper was nodding his head too. "Hey there, they're the fellas," said Annie. Happy, Little Mac, and Big Nose Sidney were walking alongside the band, singing their hearts out. "Looks like they're having fun," said Annie. She nudged Jack. "Doesn't it?" "Yeah," said Jack. "A lot of fun. Music is so much fun. I wish I had musical talent. You're so lucky, Dipper." "You really are, Dipper," said Annie. "Musical talent is really a gift to share with the world." Dipper just shook his head, as if he thought they were crazy. "Biggest potato heads I've ever met," he said. Jack and Annie laughed. Dipper gave the reins a shake. "Go 'long, lady. Keep me on my path." How weird that Dipper said that, Jack thought. Their mission was to keep him on the right path, too. The path to become the king of jazz. As Lady plodded along the bank of the Mississippi, Dipper started singing nonsense words. "Skid-dat-dee-dat, skid-dat-doo." "That sounds so cool," said Jack. "What's that song?" "Not a song. I'm just scat singing, man," said Dipper. "Scat singing?" said Annie. "What's that?" "When you can't think of words, just sing sounds," said Dipper. "Make 'em up. If you put your heart in it, folks will understand you." "I didn't know a person could make music like that," said Jack. "Heck yeah, you can make music any way you want," said Dipper. "Just listen to the world. There's church bells, the washer woman singing about her wash, the ragman blasting his tin horn for folks to bring out their rags, folks selling things like that pie man. Listen to him." Dipper pointed to a man sitting in a red wagon, calling out in a strong, rich voice, sweet potato pie, lemon pie, apple pie, any pie you like." "Listen to that voice," said Dipper. "That's music. And you listen to those sounds." Dipper pointed to some women walking beside the road. The women carried baskets on their heads and called out in sing-song voices, "Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries." "I see what you mean," said Annie. "Music is everywhere." "You got it, girl," said Dipper. "You can even hear it in ladies' hoofbeats. Listen." Jack listened to the rhythmic clippity-clap of the mule. "See, there you go," said Dipper. "That's a song. Go 'long, mule. Go 'long, mule." Jack and Annie listened to the steady music of ladies' hoofbeats until finally the mule came to a stop. "Well, here we are at the coal yard," said Dipper. "I'll leave Lady here till tomorrow." They all jumped to the ground. "Thanks for your music, Lady." Dipper patted the mule on her nose. Then he turned to Jack and Annie. "I'm afraid I have to leave y'all now," said Dipper. "But it's been great." "Yeah, Jack began, trying to think of a good reason to stay with Dipper. "I'd like to hear you blow that horn when the time's right," Dipper said to Annie. "And don't forget to say hi to Teddy and Kathleen for me." He winked, then waved and started walking away. But Dipper!" called Jack. "Sorry, man, I'm late," Dipper shouted over his shoulder. "Thanks a million." He waved again and kept going. Jack and Annie looked at each other in a panic. "We have to stay with him," said Annie. Wait, Dipper!" She and Jack ran after him. "Where are you going now?" Jack asked. "My next job," said Dipper. "I have to haul bananas till dark." "Really? Another job?" said Jack. "Hey, guess what?" shouted Annie. "We love to haul bananas." Yeah, we do," said Jack. Dipper stopped and stared at them. "What is wrong with y'all?" he said. "Don't you know how to have fun?" Jack didn't know what to say. "Seriously," said Annie, "we do love to haul bananas, and you make everything more fun while you're singing." "Yeah, you're a good singer," piped up Jack. "That's a gift." Dipper just shook his head. "Remember when I said you didn't have any more brains than a pair of potatoes? Well, I take it back. I don't think you have one potato's brain between you two." Jack and Annie laughed. "Well, come on then," said Dipper. Jack and Annie hurried with Dipper down to the loading dock on the riverfront. At least 50 workers were hauling huge loads of bananas out of the cargo hold of a ship. "Wait here," Dipper told them. Dipper walked over to a man checking people into work. He pointed to Jack and Annie. The man shrugged, then nodded. Dipper waved for them to come join him. Jack and Annie ran down to join Dipper and the other workers in the cargo hold. Dipper picked up a giant bunch of bananas. The bunch was almost as big as Annie. He hauled it onto his shoulder and then picked up another one. "Grab a bunch of bananas and follow me," Dipper said. He headed to the counter where men in white suits were inspecting the banana bunches. "No way either of us can pick up one of those bunches," Jack said to Annie. "Let's try it together," said Annie. Annie hid their trumpet behind a large wooden box. Jack put his bag there too. Jack and Annie loaded a bunch of bananas into their arms. They walked closely together, taking short, clumsy steps, following Dipper. They delivered the bunch to the inspectors and then hurried back to get another. As the sun sank toward the river, Jack, Annie, and Dipper hauled bananas back and forth between the cargo hold and the inspectors. They hauled bananas until it was almost dark. Jack was so tired he could hardly see straight. He was afraid Dipper would never call it quits. "Last one," Dipper said finally. Yes, thought Jack. They grabbed their last loads. Suddenly a large rat jumped out of the cargo hold. Dipper let out a scream. He dropped his bananas and took off running. Annie and Jack dropped their bananas too. Annie grabbed her trumpet, Jack grabbed his bag, and they ran after Dipper. Running like crazy, Dipper led Jack and Annie far from the loading area and the rat. When he finally stopped, Jack bumped into Dipper and Annie bumped into Jack. They all started laughing. Dipper laughed the hardest. He collapsed on the curb of Decatur Street and laughed so hard his whole body shook. Jack and Annie sat down next to him, laughing until they cried. Finally, they all managed to calm down. I know, I said I wasn't afraid of anything," Dipper said breathlessly. "But I lied. I'm afraid of one thing. Rats. Rats give me the heebie-jeebies." Yeah, Annie said, catching her breath. "I know how you feel. Spiders give me the heebie-jeebies." Yeah, Jack said, panting. "Yeah, actually ghosts give 'em to me." That's cool, man," said Dipper. "Between the three of us, we got all the scaredy stuff covered." That made them all start laughing again. As the twilight deepened, they sat on the curb, catching their breath. They laughed now and then, out of relief and friendship. Then Dipper stood up. "Before we part ways, I better get our pay from the boss. Hold on." Jack and Annie kept sitting on the curb as Dipper ran back down the dock. "Part ways? We can't part ways yet," said Jack. "I know," said Annie. "We haven't even begun to accomplish our mission." "Umbrella! Buy an umbrella!" a man shouted as he walked by. He carried a load of umbrellas on his back. "Storm a-comin'! Big storm comin'! For the Eye of All Saints!" "Oh, no, now a storm's coming?" said Jack. He was confused about what they should do next. A moment later, Dipper returned. 30 cents, he said. "We each get 10. No, Dipper, said Annie. "Please use it to take care of your family." "Yeah, do that," said Jack. "We insist," said Annie. Dipper smiled. "Oh, you do ya? Why, what's this game y'all are playing?" "It's no game," said Jack. "We're just a couple of potato heads," said Annie. "Get used to it." "Well then, you two potato heads, let me give you something else," said Dipper. Come along with me." "Great!" said Jack. They weren't parting ways yet. He and Annie jumped up from the curb and bounded off with Dipper.